All right, well, let me start off by saying you need to watch this show. And a bit of context, my wife and I are huge Batman fans, and we both collected the comics, and we have a mutual love of Batman and DC. And the first movie we actually watched together was The Dark Knight, which I still believe is one of the best movies made, that I can think of. Granted, that's pretty biased, but that's how I feel about it. And I find that in the way the late Heath Ledger redefined the Joker character for me, Colin Farrell is doing a very similar job in reframing and reimagining the Penguin in a way I absolutely love and was very unexpected. I was highly skeptical back when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker because I just didn't understand how he was going to do that role. But I was absolutely blown away by how good it was, and not just because of the love of Batman, but because he did such a great job of embodying that character. I have the Hot Toys Batman figures in a case, and we have comics like Death in the Family and the collector's editions of the movies. And we really enjoyed the Batman from I think it was 2020, the Robert Pattinson Batman. And even though that was also a reimagining kind of the Batman character, that we knew from The Dark Knight, I also found some of the cinematography fantastic, like the scene where he's coming through the hallway and it's just being lit up by gunfire, and that's the only light sources as they flash and stuff like that. So we really enjoyed that. And considering how things are going right now with Rings of Power, we're also huge Lord of the Rings fans and we're Star Wars fans. But right now, those shows and The Acolyte, they don't have that same feel and grit that I want out of the shows. So they're just not as engaging, I think, for us right now, like some of those other shows and some of those other kind of long running series and worlds that we're very used to. They don't seem as engaging, and to us, they've lost a lot of that pull that they had since the glory days of the Avengers and Thanos and just that whole series, because that was obviously one of the greatest sequences in movies that I can think of. They did just such a great job of all the casting of all the Avengers, and the story was really well done, and it really embodied what superheroes movies should have been to us. So I wasn't really paying attention to the Penguin, but what happened was I saw Angry Joe's thumbnail and thought, well, if Joe's really enjoying it, I'll probably enjoy it a lot as well. And wow, it is amazing. I haven't been this impressed with a show in a while. No spoilers coming, as I wouldn't want to ruin it for anyone, but I'll just cover off some of the things we absolutely love about it.
When I was a kid, there was a gangster, real old school type, Rex Calabrese. He was a big deal.
Colin Farrell and Christina Milioti, I believe her name is, I probably didn't pronounce that right, are simply fantastic. When we watched the original The Batman, we quite enjoyed it, and I didn't even realize the Penguin was Colin Farrell until we tried to figure out who was playing him after the fact. And I was gobsmacked. I couldn't believe that that was Colin Farrell under there. So apparently that process is a 3-hour process to get that makeup onto him, and then it takes 40 minutes to get it off, and they do that daily. And those effects are just absolutely fantastic. His acting and his walking gait are to me 100% believable, and his accent is fantastic. And apparently that accent is from an older New Yorker that his accent coach had interviewed, and one of the words that this person used was gefilte fish. Now, when I heard that, it made me laugh because it reminded me of those outros from Rush Hour with Chris Tucker, where he was trying to say gefilte fish to Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan was trying to correct him, and he couldn't say it. And I've never forgotten that clip. That made me laugh a lot when I saw that. So apparently, what's going on is when Cullen was saying in an interview that anytime the accent was going slightly off, his coach would whisper to him, "Gefilte fish." And that made me laugh simply because of the previous reference, of course. But also Christina Milioti is fantastic. I find her character has so much depth, and I've never really sure if she is on the verge of violence or not. It always seems to be just kind of under the surface, but on the top of everything, it's just kind of hinted at in her expression and her eyes and her body language. At times, you can kind of feel that Arkham patient hinted at in how she's doing things, and at other times, she seems like just your regular mobster's daughter. She truly is outstanding, and I wasn't really familiar with her work, but I hope they're both nominated for some type of award based on what I've seen so far. And really, the cinematography is brilliant. The way Gotham is really has that gritty, dark look as they drive through town. It really gives that sense of a city on the brink of anarchy. The lighting is excellent. In some cases, the lighting is done on the penguin himself with his eyes shining in the half dark, and I found it absolutely mesmerizing. And I remember whispering to my wife, I was like, "Look at the lighting in his eyes." She's like, "I know." So it's very engaging, and we're really enjoying it. And I think the weird thing is the only thing that really feels a bit out of place for me is the Vic character. And it may be designed that way, and I won't say too much more, and you can form your own opinion on one. But that was kind of, it's just, it feels a little, I don't know, strained or just as if it's not totally part of that gritty world, but we'll see how it plays out. So overall, I would easily give it a 9 out of 10 and possibly even a 9.5 so far. It's that good. And we're only through episodes 1 to 3, so we haven't caught up to the mid-season break yet, so we still have to watch 4, but we just haven't had time to do that. So if you're a DC fan, then I think you're really going to enjoy it. My wife and I binge watched Lost years ago, and I'll never forget when an episode would end at about 1 a.m. We would look at each other and say, "Oh no," and start the next episode, no matter how tired we were. And to me, this is one of the first shows in a long time that has that same type of feeling where the only difference being we can't stay up watching until 3 a.m. anymore, but we kind of look at each other and say, do we start the next one or do we go to bed? So it really is that fantastic. So if you get some time, check it out. And I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.